Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Mrs. Nicola Taylor, who talk about how we do school here at PLC Armidale.
Thanks, Shona, and good morning and welcome. And it's lovely to see so many familiar faces here today and families that I've met with previously. I don't know if I actually need to say anything because having watched some of the slideshow, I think a picture does tell 1,000 words, and the images that have been on display as Shona was speaking about the girls, and it is the girls that really are the heart and soul of our school community, both our girls present and our girls past, and we trust our girls' future as well. You are joining a unique community. Whether you're a parent or for your daughter as a student, it's a learning community with over 133 years of educating all girls. And as the only all-girls school between Sydney and the Queensland border, we take great delight in three things. We are regional and we are proud of being regional. We are all girls and we celebrate being all girls, and we are small and it is our size that is our strength and characteristic. We're one of 8 schools owned by the Presbyterian Church in New South Wales. The Presbyterian Church has a strong commitment to education, both historically but also in our context in New South Wales. And the Presbyterian Church schools do certainly take the lead in their respective areas. The Christian faith is the heritage, the foundation, and also a hallmark of us as a college. We are the sister school of PLC Sydney. PLC Sydney is a much larger school than we are. However, we share the same college council. And on Monday evening, as I was in Sydney for the college council meeting, the affairs and the interest and the report of PLC Armidale is often given more time and focus by our college council members than PLC Sydney, despite it being a much larger school than we are. It speaks to the commitment of our college council members to see that the educational experience for the girls here is just as rich and rewarding as it is for the girls in Sydney. And that continues to encourage me by the depth and quality of our council members. It would be difficult in a regional context to get the breadth of industry and corporate experience of committed Christians sitting around the table month after month, making governance decisions and the strategic direction for both of our schools. As principal of the college, I am responsible for the overall operation and the day-to-day management of our school and business planning for the future. However, I don't do that alone. It is certainly a team effort, and I am well supported by both my executive team and also staff in positions of leadership across the college, and you will hear from some of those today. Do you realise that by the end of 2020, your daughters will have completed more than half of their compulsory years of schooling? 17 is the official school leaving age in New South Wales, and the journey from year 7 to year 12 continues very much on the foundation that has been established in the primary years, which are so important. And I am indebted to our head of junior school, Fiona Wake, who will be also a parent of year 7 next year, for the great work that she's been doing with our girls that have been fortunate to come through our junior school in preparing them for their experience here, and also for the support that we receive from other local schools in our town and wider region of preparing the students to join us for year 7. In New South Wales, our students are grouped in academic year groups, but the curriculum still looks at stages of learning, and across any one year we will see a huge variance in the academic ability of students there. We are not a selective school in terms of selecting students purely on their academic endeavours, but we do see that a school of our size is able to know each girl as an individual, to see where they are at in their learning journey and to support them in that. We do often notice that girls in those very early years of the senior school can become a little unsure of themselves as a learner, that it can feel overwhelming suddenly going from a junior school experience where they know their teacher well and they're known by their teacher to suddenly now having 7, maybe 8 members of staff that are working with them. And hearing their voice is important to us. You might hear their voice first, We need to hear their voice as well, because we can't make adjustments to learning, support them in their learning experience if we're not hearing that voice. So your daughters have completed the first 4 stages of schooling, early stage 1 to stage 3 by the end of 2020, and then in the senior school, stage 4 will encompass years 7 and 8, stage 5 will encompass years 9 and 10, and stage 6 encompasses years 11 and 12. The curriculum continues to be mandatory for all subject areas and all learners for years 7 and 8. We do have a little variation with languages, where we introduce to the girls the opportunity of choosing between a couple of languages across stage 4. But once we come to years 9 and 10, then the learning journey for the girls, where their voice is key in deciding subjects that they wish to study, will really be heard. In our year 9 and year 10, we are currently offering 3 elective lines where students will choose the subjects that they are interested in and want to learn more about. And even within those elective lines, we run a combination of courses that our education regulator, NESA, have prescribed for elective programs. Some of those we run for 2 years. Sometimes girls will only study it for 1 year and then want to try something else. And then we also have a range of school-based electives, which really pick up on areas of high interest to girls and prepare girls well for stage 6, but they are written by the staff of our school and are unique to PLC Armidale. So even though we are not a big school, our girls are not limited by choice in areas and subjects they wish to study. Currently, our year 12, which is not a big year, in fact it's about the same size as we're forecasting our year 7 to be for next year, are completing over 30 HSC subject examinations. So what we do in managing, in meeting the competing needs of the subjects that the girls would like to study, the subjects that we can accommodate within our timetable, is to seek to be flexible as well. We are one of the few schools that I'm aware of that where we do have girls studying independently, whether it is through a distance education provider, and we have girls that are supported in their learning through PLC Sydney as well, that we provide for those students a teacher mentor of our own staff. Our staff have an amazing range of subjects that they are able to teach, but if only one girl wants to study a particular area of a subject, it's very difficult to run that subject exclusively for one student. So we support them by allowing them to study through an external provider, and our teacher mentor is what makes the difference, keeps them on track in their learning and also keeps them engaged with that mode of study. We know from our student graduates that the experience they have had, whether it's been through their independent studies or whether it's been through the distance education mode, has really equipped them well for life beyond school, university and higher order providers. And I think one of the things that won't revert after COVID-19 is that more and more educational offerings, especially at a post-school level, will be delivered online and will be delivered requiring a very different set of skills for the learners. So preparing the girls along the way, it starts in year 7. Our girls do an integrated learning project where they work in a team, cross-disciplinary, where they are involved in using an inquiry-based approach that's commenced in our junior school, and one of our current parents and year 7 parent for next year was very instrumental in that particular model of inquiry learning coming into our college, and we're thankful to Mr. Mills for his contribution in that area. But that allows in stage 4 the girls the experience of starting to learn those skills of having to manage their time, having to manage competing priorities, having to work through from the beginning to the end to see a project through to its completion. It can be in the middle years that girls become quite unsettled about who they are, whether it's as a learner or within their peer group. That is not unique to PLC Armidale, that is not unique to a small school, that is not unique to a regional school. In fact, the report that my colleague Dr. Burgess presented on Monday evening of some of the challenges that they have faced as a school community with girls, and their sense of self and their sense of connection and belonging and social interactions made me exceptionally thankful for what I would consider to be way more manageable issues that we have been dealing with, or that we do deal with at PLC in Armidale. Why do I say that, and why do I sound like I'm the foreboder of doom and gloom for the middle adolescent years? I think it's because it's not often spoken about. Everyone talks about the challenge of raising very little ones. First-time mothers struggle often with the first 3 months or the first 12 months of their newborn's life and think, is there light at the end of the tunnel? And then we go through the primary years and we go through the busyness and the activity that brings, but there's still very much a sense of, I'll use the word control, but I don't mean controlling, but as a parent you are very in tune with the day-to-day activities of your children and of their emotional well-being, and they're often very verbal and very quick to tell you absolutely every detail about every experience from when they left the home in the morning to when they come back in the afternoon. And that does change in the middle adolescent years. It's actually very normal, but as for a parent, and if it's your first experience through, it can be very disconcerting, because suddenly the voice isn't necessarily as busy and as constant and as all-encompassing as it was before. And suddenly the peer group around and the friends around take on a special place in the life of both sons and daughters. But I guess the way of doing friendships is a bit different between boys and girls, and that's something that as a school we have sought to specialise in. It is those points where the girls are naturally reaching out to friends, connecting with others, that they can become uncertain about where they fit in. It is a phenomenon known as social confidence. We are aware that social confidence does have a greater impact on girls than it does on boys, and it can range anywhere from about year 6 through to the end of year 9. And so in those mad years, we call them the make a difference years. And they're the years where, through pastoral care, through the co-curricular program and through the school as a learning community, we really want the girls to make a difference. So I share that with you because if you start to experience that there is something that your daughter doesn't feel quite as confident in, or your daughter is expressing frustration or concern about, please be assured you won't be the only one, but please make sure that we are aware. Because if we're not aware, we actually can't do some of the little things that might be needed that can make a big difference in supporting through. So our learning takes place in the classroom and outside the classroom as well. We are known for the excellence of our academic endeavour. Sometimes we make those dreaded league tables, which both NESA and the Association of Independent Schools and the Department of Education wish could not be generated, but the media love them, and I understand that for parents it provides a metric. Why do we not appear some years and we do in other years? It's simply to do with our cohort size. If we have 150 examinations physically completed for the HSC on campus, then we will appear in those tables. If we don't have 150 papers physically completed on campus in that given year, we may not. Why wouldn't we have 150 examination papers completed? Well, sometimes it's cohort size, and at other times it's because we have girls that accelerate in their subject areas. So across the senior school, we have some girls that will accelerate, particularly in mathematics. Mathematics and also physics are 2 subjects where we have demonstrated success and great benefit. And our teachers will be in contact with you and your daughter if it is identified that they would benefit from that type of an accelerated experience as well. So being supported through years of change and growth and development, whether it's physically, socially, academically, and even spiritually, it is important to have a sense of belonging. And for girls, that sense of belonging is often through the things that they are involved in. So for any of our families that are new to PLC Armidale, you will see both on our website and in our communication that comes out in the Lions Roar, as well as what is broadcast through our PLC Armidale app and on notice boards across the senior school, there are sign-up sheets for a wide range of activities and endeavour, because learning is taking place in the classroom, but learning is taking place outside of the classroom as well. And so finding those things where your daughter feels that she is challenged, but she's also equipped and she also has a sense of success in her learning is really important. That could be in cattle team. It may be in the swimming program. It might be in touch footy. It might be in rugby or in soccer or in netball or in hockey, in a wide range of the sports. It might be in our choral program or our orchestral ensembles or our jazz band or our rock band, or just learning to play the guitar and finding a voice that is within, but the girl may not have had that opportunity to experience before. It may be that that voice is used to argue. That's a good thing if it's arguing well and wisely. Speech, drama, debating, public speaking, all are important hallmarks. And I will take great delight in sharing with you, as I did on Monday night at College Council, that our Festival of Speech and Drama, which is a competition that we involve in every second year with the independent girls' schools all throughout New South Wales, and there's about 28 in total. Last weekend there were 26 teams that took place in that competition remotely. We always field a team, and I'm indebted to the work of Kate Clinch, our Head of Humanities, and Jan Patterson and Jo Weisel, our speech and drama teachers, for really preparing and equipping the girls well. Not only did we have a girl go through to the finalist in the junior poetry section, which was wonderful, but our team for the ethics and religion section won. PLC Sydney placed third, which was a great result for them. But to have PLC Armidale win this year, and the last time we entered we placed third, so we certainly improved our performance. But when you look at the overall scores and the breakdown across the schools, we came 9th out of 26 schools taking part in that. And they were comprehensive results where we had girls entering a wide range of categories and the cumulative point score of that level of participation. So our size can really be our strength in equipping girls that may not have thought of themselves as a public speaker or a debater or someone who was able to recite poetry well, or to contribute to a big discussion around cancel culture, which was the topic the girls spoke about. Our size enables us to know the girls and really equip them for that. Please be assured that at school, it is not a school where we see it as a race with winners and losers along the way. Rather, it is a journey of learning with students being taught how to think, not just what to think, how to find satisfaction in challenge and grow in a person in their understanding, to see the significance of life to themselves and to others. Yes, we celebrate our academic achievement, but we equally celebrate the student who in Year 7 may have seen herself as a failure in mathematics. And there's a video clip showing one of our girls who I think at the end of Year 7 got 8 as her mark for her end of course mathematics. And she topped and got a band 6 in her mathematics course in Year 12. Why? Because she learned over the time that she could think and operate mathematically, but she also learned the discipline and the application and the perseverance, which is a hallmark of the girls as they undertake the HSC experience. So for any journey and development, there will be those ups and downs along the way, and this is where the partnership with home is really important. Keeping communication channels open, especially with the pastoral care staff, the year patron and the Year 7 year specialists who will work with your daughters closely next year, will ensure that they are supported, but also that we are connected. And for our boarding families, that especially is true. I have a child myself in boarding this year for the first time, so if you have a daughter going into boarding next year for the first time, from the voice of experience, it's really hard to have your child in boarding. You are entrusting their physical care, their well-being, their day-to-day management of themselves as a little person into the hands of someone else. And I trust that you will feel as able to reach out to our boarding staff and connect as I have in the school context where my son is, because sometimes it's that engineering around when things are unsettling that actually is the home and the school working in a great partnership that supports and educates well along the way. I'm coming almost to the end, but one thing I did want to just highlight, and it segues beautifully from Jen's chapel focus on those technologies, and I think I can even predate Jen on that. I don't know if any of you remember the mobile phone that was the brick. It literally looked like a bag, and you had to plug it into the car, and it certainly wasn't very portable or very mobile, but it felt so advanced making phone calls from the car. So yes, that shows my age definitely. But technology now can be a wonderful tool, and we embrace it to provide an access and a window into the world of learning that wasn't as readily achievable pre-technology. But like any tool, it needs to be used well and wisely. So we take a multi-pronged approach to technology. We do seek to educate, to equip, and also to expect. We educate the girls about responsible digital citizenship and how to keep themselves safe and act wisely in the digital world. And it will often be in the digital space where friendships become unravelled. That's really tricky for us. On school and face-to-face, it looks fine, but when girls are connecting socially online, and we don't necessarily have visibility of that until there's a rift in that friendship that we're working with you to support, and that's where we would really value that open discussion and disclosure at home around technology. But we also do give the practical skills for using technology as a tool for learning, and that will take place for Year 7 in the digital boot camp that happens in the first week of term. But we expect the girls to demonstrate one of our core values as a school, which is integrity, that who they are face to face is the person that they are online. And quite often the voice that is very loud and has an impact on the girls is when it's the voice of an older student. And so through our connections of our guild, the junior years right through to Year 12, those older girls taking responsibility for getting alongside, it's not always in the formal guild structure. In fact, our new student leadership team that were inducted at the beginning of this term that I'm working with, they've taken very seriously their responsibility to strengthen the sisterhood bonds that exist within the college and being there and being present in the lives of these girls. And often that is through the friendships that they have with the younger students on social media. So just don't let the girls know that, but don't let your daughters know that, but the older girls are often friends with the younger girls on social media, but they are friends in a big sister supportive way. They are friends to alert if they think that something's happening that people should know about. And that's a wonderful role to play. Sometimes it's just, I've noticed this, what do you think we should do? And we'll equip the girls to go and have those conversations rather than it always being conversations from the adults. But that's a program that we've started over the last couple of years, quietly, obviously, but it's a program that's been really effective in strengthening the positive interaction and how social media can be used very positively. If you don't follow us on social media and you're not a big social media user, Instagram is a great platform to get a sense of what's happening day to day around PLC Armidale, and Sam Crick, our communications manager, has really expanded that delivery as a way of just affirming to the girls the benefit of the school that they belong to and encouraging them to be more involved in things, but also to our families as well. We do monitor our network fairly actively. our our IT infrastructure is hosted in our own PLC cloud. It's not PLC Armidale Cloud. It is a combined data centre structure of PLC Sydney and PLC Armidale, and that has brought to us a wonderful security, but also capacity that as a school we would not have been able to do if it was not done in partnership with PLC Sydney. So if girls do have devices at school, for example, their laptops or their smart devices, their iPads and so on, we require them to run through the school network. And we require them to run through the school network because then we do have full oversight of what is happening when the girls are our responsibility during the day. If you have provided a large data package for your daughter or a shared data package in your family, could I encourage you to think about keeping it to a minimum, and especially for the girls that are in boarding? They are allowed to have a mobile phone in boarding for use, but if it is through our network, which means they access our Wi-Fi, again, those filter controls are in place. If they have a large data package and they're running off the 4G network, we have no visibility or no control, and it's not that we actively look at what the girls are always doing, but we receive alerts from our security company that flag where there might be topics or sites or things that have been accessed or attempted that our network has blocked, but we have no visibility if your daughter is running a large data package. We can't control that, but it is something that I would ask you to think about. There's a curfew on the Wi-Fi in the boarding house at night. That is on a sliding scale according to the age of the children, but certainly the younger girls, it's a much earlier curfew, and they are required to hand their technology in. If you have old phones at home, it has been known that girls will very dutifully hand in a phone and it's actually not connected to anything. And the phone that is connected is they have kept with them. We actually do get a report on that as well. We do get a report through our filtering system if devices are being hotspotted. So it's just much easier to be really upfront with the girls, and again, we talk about integrity. And we talk about respect, which is another college value of respecting people and property by also respecting the rules that are there as well. And so if, for the members of our boarding community, you're asked about the make and model of your daughter's mobile phone or any distinguishing characteristic, like the red nail polish dot that might be on the back of the handset or however you've characterised it, it's not because we're spying, it's just simply another double check on that. For girls, the sense of belonging takes place in the pride they have in the uniform that they wear, the activities that they are in, the goals that they strive towards, whether it's in their guilds or in acquiring their pockets. For those that are new to PLC Armidale, the blazers have pockets on them, and the girls are encouraged to contribute to different areas, whether it's social service, whether it's sport, whether it's music, the creative arts, and they can accumulate points that each year we award pockets, and the local embroidery company embroiders on the girls' pockets the things that they have been recognised for. They are blue, silver and gold pockets, and they're definitely something that we encourage the girls to have. Again, it's part of that PLC portfolio that they take with them at the end of their time with us. So I will finish here by just highlighting communication once more. We will communicate with you through our Lions Roar newsletter fortnightly. It will tell you what's on, what's been, what's coming up. We will communicate with you through the college website, which is an ongoing reference point. We will communicate with you increasingly through EdgeMate regarding the college calendar and also information about student progress and welfare. We will communicate with you through the PLC app. We will communicate with you via email, though we are trying to streamline that to minimise the email overload that occurs, and we will communicate through the school diary, which your daughter has as well. So please communicate with us. Let us know of things that may have an impact on your daughter. A change in family circumstance often is a big one. The death of a loved one and even a much loved pet can have an impact on a girl at school. Medical or health needs, and communicate about the small things as well. We're thankful for the rain. We are mindful of families that are trying to harvest in the middle of hailstorms and rain. We're mindful coming out of a drought, though, that regional New South Wales is still recovering financially. And so from time to time, meeting the financial obligation to the college is difficult. And if you find yourself in that circumstance, please let us know early, because we would rather work with you to support your daughter, education remaining constant, than you feeling that you're not able to reach out. And I'll leave you with a quote of Albert Einstein that said, "Education is what remains after one has forgotten what was learnt in school." At that point, I'll hand over to Kate Clint, our Head of Humanities. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to PLC. It's lovely to see you all today. I had the great pleasure a couple of weeks ago of visiting our current Year 6 students and having just a bit of a chat to them about the move into Year 7. It was hilarious. Beyond hilarious, they had many questions. Many questions. But the most pressing one for them all was, what do I do if I lose my timetable? It hadn't occurred to me that this would be a really big issue when I explained the process and that they would be with each other and they'd be in this lovely group, and losing their timetable was actually the least of their worries. And there was lots of ways we could fix these problems. But I think what it did for me is it highlighted that their fear is about change and about not quite knowing exactly how everything will work. In Year 6, they are at the top of the pile. They know exactly how their school works, they know what their role is, and they can tell you the daily routines. And it's those things, I think, that there's a fair amount of trepidation with these students. So I hope that today also gives them a chance to get rid of some of that fear and to really understand how high school works, because it is quite different. So my role is Head of Humanities here in the secondary school. So the Humanities is our group of specialised staff who teach subjects like English and history, geography, business studies, economics, legal studies, Christian studies, and languages, among some others. So we have our group of staff who are together as a faculty group, and they are the subjects that we deliver. One of the wonderful things about the Humanities is that English is at the centre of that, and English is compulsory all the way through from Year 7 to the HSC. So it's part of what we do, and many of our teachers teach English and another subject as well. So when students come in Year 7, they'll all be studying English, and English will be a really important part of their day, but it will be very different to the way that they've been taught English, I think, in Year 6, because we move into a new stage in Stage 4. Students will also have history and geography as part of their program through Year 7 and 8, and those things are compulsory all the way from Year 7, 8, 9 and 10. And when they get to HSC, they can make some decisions. We're very lucky here at PLC that we offer 2 languages at the moment in the high school, and students will have an experience of both French and German during Stage 4, and if it's something that they're really keen on, they'll be able to continue that study into Year 9 and 10, and then possibly even to HSC if they would like to. One of the other things we have in our faculty is the growth of drama, which is very exciting, as well as the addition of some dance as well in Year 9 and 10. So our faculty is growing in some really interesting kind of ways. I can see some faces here that were involved with a production that we had last year, which was very exciting, which was our production of Matilda the Musical. And it's very exciting that we'll be able to add that kind of thing to our program again next year, fingers crossed, in terms of COVID regulations and things like that. So the Humanities is a really important part of the school day and works in conjunction with STEAM and the subjects that are on offer there. The students will be working their way around the school, and they'll actually visit our specialist teachers in different classrooms throughout the day. So again, very different to what happens in most of Year 6, where you do have that homeroom. Instead, our girls will have their home people. Instead, the people that they stay with during the day, they'll have that beautiful pastoral care structure, and then they will move throughout the day into different places in the school. So they will visit the different classrooms with our different teachers. So that is something that I think they are quite nervous about, but I hope, again, that today, with an experience of doing that, they'll be a little bit less nervous by the end of it. We're looking forward to teaching them today as well. I get to see them in period 4 for some English, so please make sure you ask them what we did they'll have something to show you, I hope, as well, by the end of the day. At this point, I'm really happy to answer any questions that you might have, anything you might need to know about the humanities. When I opened up to questions to Year 6, it was continuous, and we had to actually stop them at the end because they realised there were lots of things that they wanted to know, but we're here to answer those questions. That's our job. We're here to actually make this process as smooth as it possibly can be, and to bring them into our school and make them feel happy and confident. And most of these questions, once they're here, they'll know the answers really quickly, and we hope that that happens for them very smoothly. But if anybody has any questions now, I'm more than happy to answer them for you. And if there aren't any, you're very different to your children, I'd like to say. I'd like to hand over to Mr. Jonathan Schumack, who is our head of STEAM, so he can tell you about the subjects in STEAM. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. I also had the pleasure of taking our Year 6 girls for a science lesson last week, and it was it's always fascinating and enjoyable just to see how open they are to the world of discovery. And the questions, I agree, just never stopped. And I guess it opened up my appreciation for the primary school teachers and having to deal with that all day. But it is amazing to see that sort of desire to learn about the world around them and that curiosity that's still there at that point in time that we want to foster and harness for many more years to come. So my faculty area is the STEAM faculty, Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts and Mathematics. Or the maths teachers tell me it should be the MEATS faculty because I think maths is the most important, but it might be a little bit confusing if we went for that, I think. So on the surface, I guess it could look like that maybe is a mix of subjects that don't sort of traditionally fit together. So mixing the arts and science and maths, and they're often seen as being in opposition to each other. But I think what we really try to do is show how those things are so important to see as subjects and areas that actually go together. Equipping our students to acquire skills in all of those areas that then can be put together to become independent and creative problem solvers is really what we can do as a faculty group all together. And part of that is, I guess, what we're doing with our integrated learning project as well. I guess we'd seen in the past this idea that you kind of silo subject areas and never shall they meet. And what we're trying to do is actually show students that there's no such thing as that in the real world. All of those areas are not independent of each other, and in fact they rely on each other for you to operate in any real job, to be perfectly honest. And what we try to do is show how they overlap, and those skills that they develop in all these areas are really important, and integrating them is really important. I'm sure your daughters will be very excited about a lot of the subject areas within the STEAM group, because a lot of those areas involve very specialist rooms and teachers and spaces that they maybe didn't have access to in junior school. So moving into a science lab and being able to light the Bunsen burner for the first time and mix some chemicals together, or spending time in the design and technology room playing around with creating designs with textiles or wood, or learning how to code. Those sorts of activities and skills are really exciting and part of the change that I'm sure they're really looking forward to. That's just a little snapshot of my group. In terms of progression, as has been mentioned before, Year 7 and 8, we start with an array of everything. So visual arts, music, PDHPE, technology is mandatory, and science and maths. And we progress from there to the opportunity to start selecting areas. So science, maths and PDHPE remain compulsory all the way through to the end of Year 10, but students will then have the opportunity to select elective subjects in some of those other areas that they found a special interest in during Year 7 and 8. And then it becomes, I guess, more specialised again once we hit Year 11 and 12, where things like science might break up into sub-strands, so your physics and chemistry and biology and so on. That's a little snapshot of the STEAM faculty, and as Kate said, if there's any questions, happy to hang around afterwards and help address those. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matthew Minter. I'm the Director of Music at PLC. It's great to see you all today, and it will be also great to see your children, your girls in, your daughters in period 7, which is when they come to music. So be sure to ask them what we did. Hopefully they will enjoy it. So our mission at PLC is to provide, it's a little bit like what Nicola was talking about, where we have our sister school in Sydney, and there's a lot of opportunities that people associate it with a big school in Sydney, and the richness and quality and breadth and depth of what we're able to provide here at PLC is very much on par with our sister school in Sydney, and we've worked with them before as well quite closely. And so that is really, the evidence of that is that we, every single year that I've been here, and I think for quite a few years before that, we've had at least 1, and last year was 3, people who've actually gone on to pursue professional careers in a highly specialised field of classical music. So we aim, in conjunction with our partner NECOM, we are able to provide girls who are really aspiring to be leaders in their field with the kind of training and experiences that they need here at PLC. And that, as I said, we have lots of people who establish as professional performers in Europe, across Australia, leaders in orchestras, symphony orchestras, music educators, heads of faculties, currently in Queensland Con, the head of voice, graduate from here. We've got students from here very active in orchestras in the UK. So that's the kind of calibre of student that we have here at PLC, and the way we're able to provide those kind of opportunities is through our network and our partnership with NECOM and the music educators of Armidale. And my philosophy is to try and make sure that we get the right person for the right child at every single turn. So if they're doing composition, then I work with them myself. If they're doing something like choral, we have outstanding teachers at NECOM for voice. If they're doing musicology, we work with Karinata, who's a leader in New South Wales in that area. So whatever it is that they need, we always match them up with that in that specialty. And we're very fortunate in Armidale to have literally, I'm not quite sure why all these great musicians have these incredible careers all around the world, and then they just want to come to Armidale, whether it be organ, French horn, bassoon, oboe. All of these disciplines have outstanding people who come to live here, which is amazing, which is wonderful for us. And we work really closely with the other schools in the town and also with NECOM to make that opportunity for them. Even the fly wants to learn music. You must be doing something right. But equally importantly is, in our philosophy, is one of inclusivity, so that we try to let all of the girls to sort of access this richness of experience, this authentic musical experience that we offer here. And we do that through in our Year 7 and 8 program by having every single girl learning an instrument and actually experiencing what it's like to perform in a concert band. So for those who might have seen the Starry Night movie, you would have seen a snapshot of, I think it was Power Rock or something, with all of the Year 7 girls having only been learning for this quite fragmented year with the COVID experience, actually being able to come together and create a successful concert band. And so from that, quite a few of them have extended their skills into the jazz band and other things. So I'm talking about music in Year 7 and 8, yes. As I mentioned before, all the girls learn a wind and brass instrument, and many of them proceed on to learn more things. And also, our classroom program, we challenge the girls. So we make it, sometimes it's challenging. And for those of you who've already had girls go through Year 7 and 8, one of the big tasks, they have to actually compose a piece of music with manuscript paper and set to a piano part and write melodies and things like that. And most people think, oh my goodness, how would I be able to do that? But we not only challenge them, but we provide the steps along the way to help them be able to actually succeed in those endeavours. So whether it be singing in a choir, which was a bit challenging this year, but usually we would have them all perform as a choir, and in the concert band, and composing on real manuscript. These are the authentic sort of challenging experiences which we provide. Okay, so just moving on to choirs. We have 5 permanent choirs that just go year in and year out, but most years at the Eisteddfod we've presented 7 or 8 choirs. And for the 4 years that I was here that we could actually do the Eisteddfod, we had every year one of those choirs in the gala concert. And so it's a really strong choral program. It has been a strong choral program for many years, and that's not in isolation. We nurture it here, but we work again with our partners at NECOM and the culture of Armidale itself. But it's something that we're unapologetic about, and we work the girls hard, and they really rise to the challenge. One of the amazing things here, someone said it to me when I first came, they said, "You'll find the girls, they'll be there at the Eisteddfod, they will not let you down, and they will rise to the occasion, and they just do that. The girls here, they just have this can-do attitude, and they all encourage each other, and they step in, and they just always never cease to amaze me just how nothing's too hard, and they just have a go at everything, which is just amazing. So, and that includes challenging repertoire with parts, so this kind of thing that in some schools, we don't dumb things down here, but on the other hand, we're also expanding into, like different genres and things, but we'll talk a bit about more of that later. So moving on to the senior school. Yes, so as I talked about before, we have a very select elite group of students in our Music 2 and Extension program who go on to find things in music, and we have those students every year. Last year, we had 11 Band 6s, or if it's extension, it's called Band 4, but it's the same thing, and 5 encore nominations. So we have every year we have Band 6s and that sort of thing, and we have students that are succeeding in composition, musicology, and performance. So it's very proud that last year we had a student actually admitted into the encore program, and she was in the show, and we were in Sydney ready to go. And then they cancelled it 2 days before because of coronavirus, But we still got there, and we worked with PLC Sydney to get the students' composition ready for performance. And it was, personally, that was something I was really proud of because, I led this student through the process, and to be down there in Sydney and to get that call that it was cancelled a couple of days before was difficult, but we still managed to get there, and that's the nature of coronavirus, isn't it, for us? So anyway, composition. Oh, sorry, yes, keep talking about that. There's just a couple of things to say about that. Yes, I was talking before about how we have different specialists come in, and so we're really able to provide each girl with what they need to achieve those top, very specialised discipline in the HSC course. Okay, so in composition, that's my specialty area, and I think it's fairly self-explanatory what we're saying up here. We really love to do some competitions, and through Eisteddfods and things like that. And we've had lots of success with composition here at PLC. It's an important part of the curriculum, and so the girls do it from Year 7 right through to Year 12. And so that we have a lot of fun in that area. And we also have girls submitting contemporary. We have quite a few songwriters coming through the ranks now, and some real talent in different genres, so that's something that we're seeing and really encouraging. Okay, the string program is a hallmark feature of PLC Armidale, and the legacy of fine string playing extends over several decades, and we both attract fine string players and also nurture the girls who are here to become, many of them become graduates and professionals in the field. We've just had one girl in Year 9 succeed with her Amos A, which is an amazing achievement, and we've also had about 4 girls achieve in sort of 7th, 8th grade, get an A+, and those results have just come in just recently. So we really have lots of girls at those very high grades achieving really, really excellent results. And as part of that, we also train girls from Year 1 and Year 2 and get those girls playing string instruments as well. So I've got a couple more things to say, but I'm not sure if the slides got through to Chris in time. But as I mentioned before, we're expanding our music program to include jazz and contemporary music in a more serious way, in a more focused way. And our teacher, Mr. Sam Giacomatti, is an industry-level professional in that area. And he actually runs a very successful jazz band, and they actually won the Eisteddfod in their first year last year. And so we're very proud of that, of Sam and his team, and that's going really well. And we've also got some top contemporary singers in singing teachers, and so we're nurturing that area as well. So that's what I'd like to say today about music. If anyone's got any questions, I'm always available, just an email away, or you can come and talk to me afterwards. So thanks very much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Peter Lesurf. I am the Director of Sport here at PLC Armidale. And sport is just a wonderful thing to get involved in. It teaches the girls so many life skills, teamwork, coping with winning and losing, and it is certainly something that we will be encouraging your daughters to get involved in as much sport as they possibly can. Sport is not compulsory here at PLC, but I believe that variety is the key, finding the right sports for your daughters to play. This is a list of some of the sports that are available on a regular basis. And I went through last year when sport was up and running to its full capacity and counted up the number of girls that were involved in sporting teams, and we actually had more girls enrolled in sporting teams than we had girls enrolled in the college, which is great. And I did the same thing this year for term 3. We didn't quite go past the number of girls enrolled in the college, but we got close. So sport is certainly something that we encourage. It is certainly something that we will want your girls to get involved in, and we certainly have plenty of sport on offer. And we're not scared to sort of go out on a limb. We had some girls last year ask us about playing futsal, so indoor soccer. Our football or soccer program is expanding, so futsal was then the next step. There is no futsal comp in Armidale, so we created one. Every Tuesday night here, we have over 70 girls from local schools playing futsal. So we're quite happy to go out on a limb and go, right, if the girls want something, right, we'll create it, okay? So most of our sport is simply played on a local level, for most of our sports. If you're wanting to know how does my daughter actually get involved in sport, over the coming days, your daughter will get introduced to the sports notice boards. There'll be sign-up sheets. The sports notice board is a source of all information. There's a whole bunch, all those sports we saw up there, they're listed up there. Daughter will be asked to sign up for it. There'll be a contract that they'll have to take home, which has got things like what uniforms, what training days, what days they'll actually be playing, things like costs. So if your daughter comes home and says, hey mum, I've signed up for 27 sports, your first question is, where's the contracts? And then you can go through and go, well, sorry, you can't do 4 sports on a Monday and 5 sports on a Tuesday. The draws and information to parents comes out through Edumate Spaces. So again, that'll come out through the PLC Armidale app. So when we send out a notification about draws and training days, you'll get a notification to know, so you'll know exactly where the girls need to be and at what times. Like I said, we play most of our sport in the local competitions, so there's very little travel involved. And we certainly encourage parents to come along when it's COVID safe to do so, and get involved and cheer from the sideline and encourage our girls as much as possible. We do have representative teams that will travel to Sydney and beyond for various sports. This is just a quick snapshot of some of the representative teams and what time of the year they travel. If your daughter does make it into a rep team, we look after all the accommodation, the transport, everything. We'll get them to the venue, look after them, and get them back again. The parents we certainly welcome the parents to come along to these trips. And in some of these trips, we've actually had some professional sports people come to the hotel and talk to the girls. We had Katrina Powell a couple of years ago, who was the captain of the Australian women's hockey team that won the gold medal at the Sydney Olympics. She turned up at the hotel and brought along her four gold medals and a couple of silvers and bronze, and we had a good chat with the girls, which was fantastic. How do we get into a representative team? For some representative teams, it's just a matter of doing well in our local athletics carnival, swimming carnival. You'll then get invited to go to the next level. Other sports, the team sports, we will hold trials, and the trials could be over a day, could be over a couple of days. Selection criteria will get placed up on the notice boards. The kids will be informed of what they are actually expected to do on those trial days. And then from there we'll have independent selectors come in, select teams, and then we go from there. For equestrian, if you're interested in equestrian, it's just a matter of signing up, and then we get you to represent the school from there. Sport beyond PLC Armidale. If your daughter is interested in going beyond local sport, this is certainly an area where we do excel. The next step for us is to get, so that there's the PLC representative team. The next step from that is to get selected into an IGSA team. We have really good connections with the Northern Inland Academy of Sport, and we have a lot of girls. We had a lot of girls try out in the NIAS hockey squads tryouts, which were a couple of weeks ago in Tamworth. The selections haven't actually come out just yet for the girls. I know the boys are out. We have kids going through the Accelerated Athletes program and the Talented Athlete program in hockey and netball. We have girls that have gone on and are currently representing New South Wales in their sport. We have girls that have made the Australian teams for their sports. And if your daughter is looking at something beyond that, we have connections to the Aussie Athletics Agency, which is a US college scholarship agency, looking at getting kids into US colleges on sports scholarships. So if that is something that you're interested in, we can certainly put you in touch with that particular agency. So PLC Armidale Sport can certainly take you lots and lots of places. But sport is not just about playing. We certainly encourage our girls to get involved with coaching and get involved with umpiring. We do run a coaching course for the girls. So my job before coming here was involved in coach education through Tennis Australia. So I've put together just a generic coaching course, just on things like coaching methodology, how to plan a lesson, how to plan a term of lessons. And we support the girls through that. We've got a lot of our senior school girls coming back and coaching some of the junior school girls. When that happens, I'm usually at the training session, not necessarily to look at the younger kids playing. I'm actually there to support the senior school kids in their coaching, and I'll talk to them afterwards and beforehand about things to improve so that their coaching experience is more successful. Okay? So if your daughter is interested in playing a sport that we don't readily offer at the school, that's not a problem. Just get them to come and see me. We don't offer archery here at the school, but we have got some girls that go down to PCYC and do archery. We've got a couple of girls that did some fencing before it all got shut down. We've certainly got the contacts in town to put your daughter in touch with any of the sporting associations. So if the sport's not on the list, get them to come and see me. And again, like futsal, if there's enough girls wanting to do it, we'll set it up. We've got no problems with that whatsoever. Okay? So again, I will be around at the end to answer any questions. But before we do actually go, one of the things we do, we certainly celebrate sport at PLC Armidale. Our sports prefects will announce all the sporting results at assembly on a Monday morning. And any sporting event or achievement that your daughter does, if you can get that to us, we will get that out through our social media platforms and get that broadcast to the wider community. At the end of the year, we have what we call our Starry Night of Sport, which is a fairly formal event. Unfortunately, this year we won't be having it. We will be having a sports assembly next Monday the 9th, where again we will celebrate and showcase, even though this has been a pretty disruptive year for sport, some of our girls have still achieved some pretty amazing things, and we will celebrate that, and we love celebrating the vast array of talent that the girls have across a whole variety of sports. So, look, thank you. That's pretty much it from me. I hope to see you all around the sporting fields, if we're allowed, through 2021. But if you've got any questions at all regarding sport, feel free to come and ask. Okay, thanks. Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Lesurf. I must apologise, at the beginning I neglected to introduce myself. My name is Shona Icon. I'm Director of Development here at PLC Armidale, have been here since 2013. And I actually have the really unique privilege of working with very few people, apart from Mrs. Taylor, of working with past, present and future PLC Armidale students and families. So I feel very blessed to have that particular role. What I wanted to share with you today is that you have heard this morning from our staff about the various aspects of the college. The college nucleus is our staff and our students, most importantly, but surrounding them also, just so you're aware, is that we have a great circle of support in our Parents and Friends Association and currently our foundation, who obviously friend raise and fundraise for the support and benefit of your daughters. And as Mrs. Taylor said earlier, about the students wanting belonging to the sense of place here at PLC Armidale, I'd like to extend that and encourage you as parents to also come forward, get involved, because that's where you will find your sense of belonging as well. So if you can contribute, give back, help out, the girls see that as well, and that's encouraging for them as well. So friend raising and fundraising. With the P&F, they also have liaison parents for each year group. I'm not sure who that will be for Year 7 2021, but you'll certainly hear about that. Beyond our community, we also have a wide network of alumni who are very supportive of the college, and I know there are a couple in the audience, Jen and Polly. I did see Polly here earlier. Yeah. Oh, Felicity, I'm sorry. Sorry, thank you for... That's exactly right. Family connection. So the community here is like family, and so they grow daughter to mother to even grandmother, which is a lovely experience to have. So there are lots of events that usually are held here on campus for you to come along to and attend and support, whilst we did try and provide that experience for you online in the digital sense of all those various videos, etc., that happen throughout, particularly term 3. Nothing will ever replace the in-person experience, and we're hoping that 2021 we can do that COVID safely, because I think that won't be going away anytime soon. So we'll have to learn to live with that and do that, as we've tried to do today with having you come in through that side entrance rather than with the girls. The other thing I wanted to share with you, which Mrs. Taylor's actually articulated, is the communications. So all of the various aspects of communication, and you cannot communicate enough, whether it's going out to you or you coming back to us to share information. It's an essential way of doing school at PLC Armidale. I would like to highlight one thing for you particularly here today. Have you received one of these particular DL flyers? If you haven't, Sally will have them available for you at morning tea time. But on this particular flyer, there's a QR code. That then, once you scan it, it then takes you to our website and to the page that you'll need to go to. We are currently updating that page all the time. It's what to expect in 2021, all the information you need to know, handbook information, key dates, a whole range of things are on that page. If you go to it right now, it will still say 2020. So what I'm saying to you is hang on to this DL flyer, and over the period of the next few months, we will be updating that information. And so, of course, you can always phone the college, we'll send emails, and there'll be the opportunity to have the PLC Armidale app on your phone where you will receive information on a regular basis. What I would also encourage you to do, which you can do now without subscribing to anything necessarily, is go to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter, of course. So all of those social media, or the suite of social media, is available to you, and you will there see what's happening now and what's coming up in the future. A couple of highlighted things to note. I know you've been quite overwhelmed with all the information this morning. January 27, we'll be hosting a welcome barbecue for all families. It's a lovely way to start the school year. The following day, January 28, is when the college and the 2021 school year commences. So there are two key dates for you. Also in that term, we will have a whole school information evening. There will be a whole lot of new information coming out, particularly around our IT and communications. And Community Open Day, it's still up for discussion because we're unsure about what the COVID restrictions will be for 2021 as yet, but we'll keep you informed.